Good day, my fellow geographers, and welcome back to another episode of the Grade 12 Geography Cap series. I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in, and if you are new to this channel, I'm Engine Commander, and I strive to make geography as simple as possible. Now, this is going to be quite a short video. We are just finishing up with geomorphology, so this is the last topic of the geomorphology chapter, and going back to our CAPS document, you can confirm that this is the last topic there. So in this video we will be breaking down the catchment and river management topic and finally finishing off the geomorphology chapter, right? So we will be discussing the importance of managing drainage basins and catchment areas. Why is it important to do so? And also the impact of people on drainage basins and catchment areas, as well as the solutions, the management strategies that we should employ to ensure that our river systems run efficiently, effectively, sustainably, right? So that's what we're gonna do, guys, and as I said, this is gonna be a short one. As you can see, this is the importance of river management, and then impact, and then the strategies. So without wasting any time, guys, let's just get on to it. Right, so when we are talking catchment and river management, guys, this is self-explanatory. This is simply the management of water resources within a basin, okay? But we are looking at this in relation to the social environment and the economical environment. So why is it important? Why do we have to manage rivers? Why is it important that we have to regulate and manage the way things are done in our drainage basins in these river systems? So first of all, water is essential, right? So this is essential for survival and the well-being. Well, we all know that we cannot live with water, and that this is very good for our well-being, our health, guys, right? Not only for our wealth, but also this is beneficial in terms of our economy as well as in terms of the social domain. So through water, we are able to produce products such as your fruits and veggies, okay? So you can run an agricultural enterprise there. But we all know that the input that is needed for that to be successful is water. So it's also good for social development because now people are able to get jobs. They are employed through the projects such as like your hydroelectricity. So people will get employed because of the energy that can be produced and converted from the water that is flowing, right? Another point is that we know water is scarce in SA. So we have to take care of the little amount of water that we already have, right? Some of our provinces get water from other countries, like the neighboring countries like Lesotho, for an example, Gauteng. So we know that we are not rich in water, so we have to take care of the water that we have, the little amount of water that we have. The third point is that our river systems are a resource. Okay, so when we are referring to a resource, we are referring to an asset, guys. We are referring to wealth. We are referring to a material that can be used for economic gain. Another point is that we share our river systems with neighboring countries. Okay, we have to take care of the water because, well, if we are sharing river systems, this country, let's say this is country 1 and this is country 2, and then you have a river system that passes through both countries and it is heading towards the sea. Let's say this is the sea. So it is a no-brainer that country 1 and country 2 should both take care of the water because it is a very important resource. If country 1 pollutes this water will very much affect country 2 because country 2 is downstream. We have to consider that our river systems are shared, right? Not only one country, but between provinces, between towns, between different villages. Someone out there needs that water. They rely on that water for domestic use. And so if you use the water carelessly by polluting the water, then someone out there is going to be affected by those actions. The next point is that water is critical for domestic, agricultural, and industrial purposes. So we need water to cook, to bath, to perform basic daily activities, guys. Of course, so that is for domestic use. In the agricultural industry, they need water in order to produce the raw materials, which are then used in these industries. These industries also use water in order to produce the finished product that they produce. So it's good for our economy water is important in recreation. So recreation, we're talking about water sports, which are critical for social development and the economy of these communities that we find in drainage basins, right? River systems serve as critical habitats. Critical habitats. You have fish living in these water. You have other animals that are dependent on those fish. You have people dependent on those fish. And so river systems not only serve as critical habitat for some animals and plants, but also they link different ecosystems. And so this is important for our plants and animals. Okay, I'm sure there's way more points that I can add here, right? So if you have any more, guys, you can add them in the comments. I would really appreciate that. That is the importance, the significance of river management there. But our actions do not imply that we do care about our river systems, that we do realize catchment areas and drainage basins are important to us, because there's so many activities that we do, that we perform, that negatively affects our catchment areas and our river system. So this is what we call environmental injustice. This is the poor management of natural resources, or we can say it's the poor treatment of natural resources by humans. We do not treat the environment with enough care, considering how much it does for us. So that's what we are going to talk about now, the impact of people on catchment and drainage basins. Now the first point is poor domestic use of rivers pollutes and litters rivers. So what do we mean by poor domestic use? So we are referring here to the littering. Okay, you're going to find out that in our rivers you're going to find plastics. Okay, who threw those plastics there? Cannot be animals or plants, it can only be us, right? Nappies, you're going to find waste there. So if you're gonna do it, number two, you're gonna do it right in the river. Can you imagine? You have a lot of items that are being thrown here. You have like wastewater, for an example. You're going to find individuals that are doing laundry in the rivers. You're going to find individuals that gonna throw that bath water after they've finished bathing. So all of those are chemicals. That's the combination of different chemicals, and that pollutes of course the river. The composition of the river changes because now it has all these chemicals from these different items being thrown in the river, right? And floating are your other items that are just being thrown there instead of in the dustbin, right? The second point we have is that industries release pollutants into streams. Okay, so not only into the streams, right? Now, during the production process, okay, whenever they are, remember these industries are processing, right? And so whenever they are processing, they are going to release their products and also some byproducts, okay, or some of the extra stuff that is also produced whenever they are producing whatever that they need. So due to poor waste management, all of this polluted water enters our river systems and pollute them like that, because these are your chemicals, right? Not only do they pollute the water, but they also pollute the air, right? So both air pollution and water pollution. And considering that pollutants can be acidic, there's a huge possibility that this could also lead to the development of acid rain. So our industries are not innocent. They release these pollutants into our river systems, both directly and indirectly. The third point, alien vegetation consumes large amounts of groundwater. Okay, so alien vegetation here, we are referring to vegetation that is not naturally from South Africa, right? So it probably was brought in by foreigners. So for an example, during apartheid, the colonizers would bring in seeds and some animals from their countries. So the way this works is that vegetation has competition, right? So let's say this is the alien plant, and then on the right hand side we have our indigenous plant. Now because our indigenous plant is originally from here, it has pests, right? So pests will consume a lot of indigenous plants because that's what they are used to, right? So they are going to consume these plants, and then on the other hand, the alien plants do not have a lot of enemies, right? They do not have any pests that are eating them up. And so what do? They are going to reproduce, right? Because they do not have any competition. So now they are going to reproduce. We know that competition is normal when it comes to plants, right? They compete for water, they compete for nutrients, they compete for sunlight. But this is unfair competition because this does not have any pests, and so it's going to reproduce rapidly and spread and hence consume a lot of water. Okay, so it's going to eat up a lot of water than our indigenous plants, and way more water, and hence this is not good for our groundwater. Now our groundwater will be consumed a lot by alien plants, and this groundwater feeds these river systems, right? This is unfair because you have this vegetation that is not originally from here, and that is now competing unfairly with our indigenous plants and consuming a lot of water. And this is, of course, depletes the amount of water, and hence it is a direct threat to our water resources. And yes, it is a human activity because it is brought by people from other countries into this country. Another point is landfills and mines pollute groundwater. Okay, so the trash can or the dustbin that waste collection collects from your front door, all that trash is transported to these sites which we call landfill sites. Now all of that trash is going to accumulate there. Whenever it's raining, all of those chemicals that make up that trash will be absorbed or will dissolve into groundwater channels, right? And so this is going to pollute our water because, well, these groundwater channels feed our river channels. So this is pollution, right? You also have mines, right? So mines use these explosives and many chemicals in order to retrieve the ores that they are looking for. So during the production process, all of those chemicals that were used will seep into the groundwater, and of course those chemicals will accumulate there and then eventually wash into our river channels, just like that. So that's another point over there, the impact that we as humans have on our own drainage basins and catchment areas. Right, so the fifth point, overgrazing and the use of pesticides, they promote runoff and they pollute rivers, right? So overgrazing, if you are not giving a chance for the plants to grow back, your animals keep on grazing in one area and you do not give any chance for this particular grass or plants to grow again, this means that these plants will be removed there. If they are removed, then this means that the topsoil will not be stable. And if the topsoil is unstable, that means that it can be easily eroded. Simple like that. Remember, vegetation holds the soil together. And also using pesticides. So pesticides, these are your chemicals that are used to kill pests, the insects that eat your produce or your plants or your crops. So the use of pesticides hand in hand with the overgrazing will promote runoff, and this runoff has a lot of chemicals because you've been using pesticides, right? And so all of these chemicals will be washed into our river channels and hence polluting our river system. The last point is deforestation, right? So this is the removal of trees without any plan to plant them again. Cutting down trees, especially also removing their roots as well. This will, of course, help increase the runoff because, again, we said that vegetation holds the soil together. Now, the soil will be loose and hence all of those particles, those soil particles, will wash onto the river channel. Okay, so they will wash into the river channel, and this river channel will have a lot of concentration or a high concentration of these silt or these particles, these soil particles. And of course, this directly affects the ecosystems that you're going to find there. It's going to be hard for animals to lay eggs here because there's a lot of silt here. There's a lot of sand or particles or soil particles, clay that is accumulated there such that the water is not high enough or is not even visible. All you can see is these soil particles that are wet because there was a river there before, but then because of silting, it is no longer visible. It just looks like wet soil. So that is the last point there on the impact of people on catchment and drainage basins. Now, of course, guys, there are many more, and feel free to add again in the comment section down below. Okay, so now what can we do? What are the solutions to help counteract this impact? Okay, so now we are going to discuss the strategies that we can use to ensure a sustainable use of our drainage basins and our catchment areas, right? What can we do to ensure that we do not harm our environment, to ensure that we take care of the environment as it takes care of us? So the first strategy there is to regulate the cutting of trees. Okay, let's regulate the amount of deforestation that we see. How much are these companies cutting down the trees? How many trees are they cutting per month? How many trees are they cutting per year? And is that sustainable? Are our trees going to recover from that? Are they planting more trees? Okay, so you can also talk about afforestation. So afforestation, this is the planting of more trees. This is the direct opposite of deforestation, which is the cutting down of trees. So it would help to regulate. We have to have officials there that are recording the amount of trees that are being cut and ensuring that fines are given to companies that cut more than is written down by law. So that is one thing. Regulate the deforestation, the amount of deforestation that we see, to ensure that our soils are not unstable, right? So we need our soils stable, guys. We need that soil held together so that we do not see silting, we do not see runoff, we do not see pollution. The second strategy, we have to find these industries that poorly manage waste and pollute river systems. Okay, so there are many strategies, there are many ways to avoid polluting rivers. Okay, you can practice water recycle. That polluted water that you have released, treat it so that you can use clean water and as well prevent polluting our river systems. So we have to find them, these companies that poorly manage waste, these companies that pollute river systems, give them fines, a lot of fines that are quite substantial, so that they realize how much important our river systems are. A third strategy is to educate farmers on sustainable farming methods. All right, so farmers perform a lot of activities that pollute our river systems, such as monoculture. Okay, now monoculture, this is planting the same type of crop season after season, year after year. Now the disadvantage there of planting the same type of crop is that the soil is depleted of some nutrients. Okay, if you're going to plant the same type of crop, it's going to consume the same type of nutrients, right? And so those type of nutrients that are there, they are going to be depleted, and so the soil now will become poor, and hence it is not a sustainable farming method. Because if you have a poor soil, then it's very possible that runoff can occur. You have overgrazing. Okay, so we talked about overgrazing. That is, your animals, you rear animals, but your animals keep on eating at the same plot of land, and so of course that's going to make the land bare. So you have to try to ensure that you rotate where your animals graze. The use of pesticides as well. Okay, we talked about pesticides. Pesticides also get absorbed in the soil, and so whenever it rains, that soil runs off to the river channels, and because that soil has a lot of chemicals, because of the use of pesticides, now our river systems will be polluted. So what can they do? Instead of all of these poor farming methods, we can practice crop rotation. So crop rotation, whereby you are planting a different type of crop at a particular season. Okay, you do not plant the same type of crop, you rotate the crop so that your soil can be healthy. There should be sustainable animal farming. So sustainable animal farming counteracts that overgrazing, so ensuring that your animals graze at different plots of your fields at a particular time. There should be natural pest management. Okay, instead of using pesticides, why not use natural predators of those pesticides, or make the use of GMOs as well? That can also be very beneficial too. Another point there is education of communities on water conservation. Now, education, guys, I don't know if you've noticed this, but in geography, when it comes to solutions, education is very important. Okay, at least think of education. If you have forgotten a lot of strategies, just education has to be one of them. So we are saying that we have to educate our communities on water conservation. We need to hold meetings whereby we communicate the dangers of pollution with our community members, right? Because they are the ones that litter. They are the ones that pollute the water directly into the river channel. So we have to communicate the dangers of that, and something must be done, guys, to counteract that and ensure that that is being done frequently and that it is being regulated by community members. This would really help improve the quality of our river systems. Another point here, another strategy is to ensure that there is international cooperation, okay, to manage rivers that flow in more than one country. So as we discussed, guys, some river systems go from one country and flow into other countries. And so as country A and country B, we have to sign an agreement, okay, ensure that we enforce the laws that we put down in paper, ensure that each country is working towards ensuring that our river systems are clean. No one pollutes our river systems, because now this directly affects us. We are different countries. If I'm polluting a river in my country that flows into your country, of course, this will affect your people. This will affect your businesses, your welfare, your well-being, so on and so on. So there has to be an agreement there. We have to work together and ensure that these laws that we put down, ensure that they are enforced, guys. There's been so many incidences whereby countries agree on something and then you find out that that is not implemented. We have to also question these agreements, question these treaties that are being signed, because you're going to find out that nothing is actually being done there. Most of the time it's also vague. It's not specific as to how are we going to do this exactly. So there's a lot of things that we need to question and think about. So this is what I have for you in store today. Catchment and river management, that is the topic, and we've covered all of that. Let me know in the comments, guys, if there's any questions that you have or anything you'd like to add. Please ensure that you add it on the comments down below. Now, thank you for watching again, guys. Please subscribe, please like and share these videos, and there will be more and more and more to come. Thank you very much.